Hello everyone, this is Lisa Andrus, Psychic Medium, and this is your weekly reading for June 29th through July 5th, 2015. And this week, as you can see, I'm using the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. I just didn't know what deck to use today. I'm in the process of moving right now, but I have most of my decks out, and this is just the one that I felt drawn to this week. To those of you in the United States, I want to wish you a happy Independence Day, which is Saturday, July 4th. And then I personally think we had a miracle here on Friday, the 26th as well, when it was ruled that same-sex marriage was legal in all 50 states of the United States. And for me personally, I thought momentous things like that make this experience of being on Earth worthwhile, because I have to say, I know that I'm not alone, that for those of us on Earth, this has been an extraordinary time in humanity to be here. There are ups and there are downs, and it's not easy every day. There are some times when we're uncomfortable in our bodies because we either have some sort of physical issue that we were born with, or sometimes the things we do to our bodies, or maybe we don't even understand. Maybe we're taking stress to our bodies, and just sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel grief. Right now, I'm in the process of moving. I just moved 7 months ago, and even though it's a happy move for me because I'm not comfortable in the apartment that I'm in, to say that I'm pretty frustrated with the fact that I have to move again to make myself comfortable. I've kind of gone through moments of like, why didn't I listen to my instinct? That even though the deal seemed great and the apartment seemed great, I still had that uneasy feeling in my gut when I moved in here. But everything in life is a learning experience. But I've had some grief come up while I've been packing here at this last minute, and while things are changing. And so they want to say to you through this message that's coming at the beginning of this reading, that if you're experiencing any sort of discomfort or a move after a move or some sort of change, even if it's good change, it's okay to take some time to grieve. And I'm seeing somebody I have that was healing me, doing reflexology. I remember she said to me, when we were talking about healing some of the stuff in my body and, hormones and whatnot as I grow older as a woman. And it's just very interesting because she said to me, it's okay for you to be upset with your body. The light worker in me thinks, yes, we should always be positive, but you know what? We're human too. And it's okay if you get upset. It's okay if you have grief. And it's okay to let yourself feel it. And so with that, I just want to say that I have shuffled and pre-drawn the cards this week as per usual, and we'll see what this week has in store for us, okay? It says, consult an expert. More information is needed. Contact someone with expertise in this area. So the first thing I'm hearing as I was reading this card was that if this is in relation to a business that you've been wanting to start or going back to school, consult someone else. Or if it's going back to school, consult your options. Or if it's looking at space for a business, explore your options. So I feel like there's a double message to this. Consult an expert. If it's a health-related concern or whatever it is, you may just want to get another opinion before you make a decision. So maybe it's a health situation and you've been wondering if you should go see the doctor, and this is your sign. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong, but the only way you're going to know if you're okay sometimes is if you go to a doctor. And even if it's a scary situation, knowledge is power. You have to face your fears sometimes and just consult an expert. Regardless of what it is that you've been thinking of, I just heard adoption too, so maybe you need some more information before you decide, like on a certain adoption program. Here in the United States, there's lots of different adoption programs. You could adopt from our foster system. You can adopt from another country, or you could do a domestic infant adoption. And so there's all sorts of things that you can look into. But consult an expert. Oh, and lastly, I hear too, if you've been thinking of selling your home or buying a home, consult an expert, because they're not out to take your money, they're out to help you. And if you've been having a hard time with it, it's time to call somebody to help you with that. Okay? Now for the middle of the week here. Ooh, what a wonderful card. Waves of Prosperity. It says, new abundance and exciting opportunities watch over you now. I have to say what's exciting for me is I move in the middle of the week. And so, as I just said, I'm having some emotions come up with the move. And I'm a little exhausted because I'm, packing. I hire movers, but I want to pack my own things, and so it's had some emotions. But here, what this card is saying is whatever happens in the middle of the week, in my case a move, for some of you different things, and in some instances you may not see what is coming, but regardless, waves of prosperity are on the way to us. Now, it may not always be money. It could just be that whatever you're doing in your life could bring you prosperity. They want me to tell you a story. I've been feeling that since I started this reading. So I felt at the beginning of June, right before Mercury retrograde was over, I had a moment and I just decided to stop drinking alcohol. Now, I don't know if it's forever. I don't know if I had necessarily a problem. I just felt like I needed a break from it because I thought to myself, I was drinking a little more than I wanted to. I'd had a couple of nights out where I didn't feel good after I'd been out and I'd had a few drinks. And I just decided I need a break from it. And furthermore, I thought to myself, who am I to think that genetically I come from long lines of people on both sides of my family that have had problems with this, that have had issues with addiction. And while I have felt blessed not to have those issues and addictions, it doesn't mean that it can't happen to me. So maybe it was just good for me to take some space from it. So I'm just enjoying having the space from it and seeing how I feel. And ultimately, I know that no matter what happens, it hopefully will help me not want to drink or drink as much or just have it on a very special occasion. I don't know. I don't know what that means for me. I'm just going as I am guided. I have to say I had felt like that for a long time, that I just needed a break from it, and I finally just decided to put my foot down and do it. And I have to be honest, the first few days, it wasn't real easy. I mean, I realized then I did some looking back. It was a really interesting time of self-reflection and just looking back to think, when had it started that I felt like I wanted to, sometimes with, whether it's with alcohol or some sort of other substance, and in some instances even food, like comfort food or sweets or whatever it is that we want to stuff into our bodies to help us not to feel. I thought back to when I had started to do that, and it was a period in my life actually when I figured out I couldn't get pregnant, or I wasn't getting pregnant. And it was really interesting when I made that connection and I connected those dots. So while I don't want to be a downer for this reading, I feel like this message is coming out for a reason, which is it's an interesting time of self-discovery. And maybe my taking some time away from it or trying something new in my life will allow some prosperity into it. That doesn't mean you have to do something like that to allow prosperity into your life. It just means that you've made a change for the positive. And if you've been thinking of it, maybe it's time to do that. Whatever it is, it's going to allow waves of prosperity. You don't have to do anything or stop anything or start anything to allow those waves of prosperity. What they're just saying is your prayers are working. So allow yourself to open up your arms and receive. And know that great prosperity is on its way to you. Okay, now let's see what we have in store for the weekend. Watch your thoughts. It's important to think about what you desire, not what you fear. Worry. That is the first word that I hear when I think of this, because I think as humans, it is our human nature to watch our thoughts or to worry. You could worry about anything. You could worry about your kids all the time. You could worry about the future. And instead of thinking about what you don't want, think about what you do want. It's the law of attraction. The law of attraction can't discern whether you do or don't want something. If you think about something, like, an example would be, I hate Brussels sprouts. Well, the universe is not going to hear the hate, and perhaps it will manifest you Brussels sprouts continually. That's just a rather shallow example, but that's one example of whether you say you hate them or you can't stand that, the more you complain, the more you give whatever that complaining thought is energy. So it's better to watch your thoughts and try to rephrase them as positive. Right now, I just checked out from the library the book Wishes Fulfilled by Dr. Wayne Dyer. While I know who he is, I haven't read lots of his stuff, but a friend of mine was reading it and it just sounded to me like it was a good read. And again, I think talks a lot about the law of attraction. And I'm still at the beginning of the book, but he had said something to the effect of, when you find your thoughts going along in your mind at a rapid pace, kind of like the stock ticker or, on the stock exchange, how you see all of the different positions and prices going on. Just if you get a bad thought in there, just reach up into your thoughts, kind of like that continually revolving stock ticker, and just pull out a good one. And sometimes that will help you. Or Abraham Hicks sometimes says that to pivot out of a terrible seeming moment or a difficult moment, the best thing you can do is to find something that helps you feel good. So think of something that's fun in your life, like riding a roller coaster. Maybe that's not fun to you, but it's fun to me. So maybe for me, it's thinking about riding a roller coaster or some positive memory in your life. Even doing that will help you pivot out of your worrying. And I have to say, since I flipped over this card, I kept hearing caffeine too. If you think that you've just been wired lately, and you're having caffeine, whether it's through chocolate or coffee or soda or whatever, you don't have to stop completely, but that might have something to do too with your increased anxiety. One thing I've been doing a lot is having a sleepy time or a chamomile tea before I go to bed. It just helps me sleep. So if you've been having trouble sleeping because you're worrying, that might be something that helps you. You guys, I have to say, this looks like it's going to be a great week, no matter how it seems or it feels right now. Wonderful things are on the way. We just have to believe. And even if we don't see signs of it yet, we have to believe that those waves of prosperity are on the way. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. I love each and every one of you. And I will speak to you again next week.